you hear it? The wind is whispering, soft as a sigh, slow as a dream. It dances through the sleepy trees of Moondrift Hollow, a place that only appears when your eyes grow heavy and your yawns get long. And nestled there, under a blanket of moss and moonlight, lives a tiny creature named Luma. Chapter 1. The little glowling Luma was smaller than a teacup and softer than a whisper. Her fur shimmered like firefly wings, and when she was brave, she glowed. Just a little, not like a lamp, not like the stars, but a cozy flicker, like the warm light under a blanket when you're reading a book after bedtime. But most days, Luma didn't glow at all. She wasn't very brave, you see. She was shy and gentle and a little afraid of, well, everything. The dark, the wind, her own shadow, even frogs made her jump. And there were lots of frogs in Moondrift Hollow. Still, Luma was kind and sweet and very curious. She liked watching the stars blink. She liked the way mushrooms glowed when the moon was full. And most of all, she loved the lantern tree. Chapter 2. The Tree of Light. The lantern tree stood in the center of the forest, its trunk silver as moonbeams, and its branches heavy with glowing orbs. Each orb held a bedtime dream. Soft dreams, silly dreams, dreams of flying and floating and cookie clouds. Every night the forest gathered round as the lantern tree lit up the sky like a sleepy chandelier. But one night it didn't. The forest held its breath, the branches stayed dim, and the dreams stayed asleep. A hush fell over Moondrift Hollow. Even the frogs stopped croaking. Even the wind stood still. And that's when a voice called from above. Chapter 3. Osric the Owl. Ahem. Is anyone awake? It was Osric, the great barn owl, who wore little reading glasses and spoke like he was always telling a bedtime story. He perched on the highest branch and fluffed his feathers with a frown. Something's wrong with the lantern tree, he hooted softly. Its light is fading, and if the light fades, so do the dreams. The animals gasped. The fireflies blinked twice and flew into each other. The squirrels shivered under their tails, and Luma, hiding behind a toadstool, peeked out, her fur barely glowing. Someone must climb to the top, said Osric. Someone small, someone light, someone brave. The forest fell silent. All eyes turned to Luma. Chapter 4. The Glowling's Glow. Luma blinked. Me, she thought. Her little heart pitter-pattered like rain on leaves. I'm not brave, I'm not strong, I'm just small. But inside her chest, a soft warmth began to grow. A flicker, a shimmer, a tiny glow. Maybe, she whispered, I could try. Osric glided down beside her, quiet as falling feathers. You don't have to be big to be brave, he whispered kindly. You only have to take the first step. Luma took a breath. And with the forest watching and her little light blinking gently in her fur, she whispered back, Okay, I'll go. Chapter 5. Into the Mist. Luma stood at the base of the lantern tree. Its silvery bark shimmered faintly like moonlight through fog, but its orbs no longer glowed. They hung like sleepy stars that had forgotten how to shine. The path up was narrow, winding and knotted, covered in moss and soft petals. Deep breath, Luma whispered to herself. She placed one tiny paw on the bark. It felt cool, but kind. And as she began to climb, the mist of Moondrift Hollow wrapped around her like a blanket, gentle and quiet. Each step made her heart flutter, but her glow grew just a little brighter. Below her, Osric called gently, You're doing wonderfully, little Glowling. One paw at a time. Chapter 6. Pib the Pond Frog. Halfway up the tree, Luma heard a soft plip-plop sound and a croaky hum. La-la-loo, dreams for you. Sleep until the stars are blue. A round green face peeked out of a puddle nestled in a knot of the tree. It was Pib, a tiny pond frog who always sang to his tadpoles at bedtime. What's all this now? Pib blinked. You're glowing, just a little, Luma said shyly. I'm climbing to fix the lantern tree. Pib's eyes widened. That's very brave. You'll need this. He offered her a soft lily petal, still dewy and shaped like a lantern. If you feel scared, breathe into this. It'll hold your calm for you. Luma smiled and tucked the petal into her pouch. Thank you, Pib. And as she climbed higher, the tree seemed to whisper its thanks too. Chapter 7. The Sleeping Leaves. Near the top, the wind grew softer, slower. The leaves of the lantern tree were curled up like they were sleeping. Luma touched one gently. It trembled but didn't wake. Then she remembered something Osric had said. Light returns where love is spoken. So Luma, glowing faintly now from her chest and paws, leaned in and whispered to each leaf, "You're loved. You're safe. You are not alone." The leaves began to stir. One by one they unfurled, stretching in the soft air, glowing faintly, like they were blushing from the inside out. A breath moved through the tree, like it was waking from a long, cozy nap. Chapter 8. The Heartlight. At the very top of the tree, nestled in a cradle of silver twigs, was a single orb. But it wasn't glowing. It pulsed faintly, as if it had a heartbeat. But it was tired. Luma sat beside it and closed her eyes. She thought of everything that made her warm. Her tiny home under the moss. The sound of frogs singing. The wind whispering goodnight, Osric's kind eyes. Pib's lullaby, the way the moonlight felt on her fur. Her fear, her courage, her hope. And as she felt those feelings rise up inside her, her glow brightened. Not flashy, not bold, but soft, honest, gentle. She pressed one glowing paw to the orb and whispered, "You're safe. I'm here. It's okay to shine again." And the orb began to glow. Chapter 9. Light Returns. The orb at the top of the lantern tree pulsed softly, then shimmered. One soft breath in, then two, then three, and suddenly, thwump, it lit up like a sleepy star blinking open. Not sharp or bright, but glowing like candlelight wrapped in a hug. Luma gasped. The branches above her twinkled. The mist parted below, swirling with moonbeams. One by one, the other lantern orbs along the tree, the ones cradled in curling bark, the ones hanging like sleepy fruit, began to glow again. The whole tree shimmered in quiet celebration. Not loud, not flashy, just warm and full of peace. Far below, the animals of Moondrift Hollow stared in wonder. "She did it," whispered a fox cub. "She lit the dreams again," said a hedgehog. And Osric, eyes shining behind his tiny glasses, smiled so wide his feathers fluffed the glowing glows. Chapter 10. The descent. Luma rested a moment at the top of the tree. She breathed in the soft light all around her. She felt its warmth, but also its stillness. The tree wasn't buzzing with power. It was humming like a lullaby. She began the climb down slowly, sleepily, as if the light was singing her feet to the rhythm of dreams. As she passed the sleepy leaves again, they swayed gently in her direction, not waving exactly, more like bowing. When she reached the puddle where Pib had been, she saw he'd left a tiny lily crown for her, floating there like a gift from the moon. She smiled and placed it on her head. Drip, drop, drip. The puddle song played her the way down. Chapter 11. The Circle of Dreams. Back at the base of the tree, a hush had fallen over the forest again. But it wasn't fear this time. It was awe, the kind of quiet people use in libraries or when watching stars fall. All the creatures of Moondrift Hollow gathered around the glowing tree. Fireflies danced in spirals, owls blinked slowly. Squirrels cuddled under moss blankets. Osric stepped forward. "Luma the Glowling," he said, bowing low. "Your light woke the dreams. You reminded the lantern tree of its own magic." Luma's ears drooped shyly. "I was scared," she whispered, "but I kept going." Osric nodded solemnly. "Courage isn't loud. It's the soft step forward, even when your paws shake." Then all around the circle, the forest creatures whispered, "Glow, Luma, glow. Glow, Luma, glow." And she did. Her fur shone golden rose and moonlight blue. A soft, safe glow that made every creature yawn and snuggle in closer. Chapter 12. Drift to sleep that night. The forest slept deeper than ever before. Dreams rose from the lantern tree like glowing feathers. Some floated to the baby bunnies who dreamed of marshmallow clouds. Some curled around the fox cubs who dreamed of soft snow that never melted. Some drifted into the air and up, through your window, curling quietly under your pillow. And if you listen carefully, you can still hear Luma's soft breath drifting through the trees, guiding dreams like lanterns through the sky. Chapter 13, A Glow That Grows. The days and nights that followed were softer somehow. Moondrift Hollow seemed to hum with a quieter kind of joy. The wind was gentler, the stars blinked a little slower, and the dreams from the lantern tree floated even farther. And Luma, well, she still hid behind mushrooms sometimes. She still felt small, she still jumped at loud noises, but now she didn't feel alone in her smallness, because she had climbed the tallest tree in the forest. She had whispered to the leaves. She had lit the light again. And she had learned something glowing and true. Even the tiniest light can brighten the darkest place. Chapter 14. Home under the moss. One evening, as the dusk rolled in like a sleepy wave, Luma curled up beneath the mossy root of an old dreaming tree. The lily-petal lantern from Pib hung beside her, swaying gently in the breeze. Osric perched nearby, book in wing, glasses sliding down his beak. "Time to rest, little light," he cooed. "Tomorrow will come softly. Let the stars keep watch tonight." Luma yawned, the kind of yawn that curls all the way down to your toes. The tree hummed, the wind shushed, the forest breathed as one, and Luma let go. Chapter 15, for the listener. And now, dear listener, close your eyes. Can you feel the glow? Not on your skin, but somewhere deep inside where dreams live. The part of you that gets scared sometimes, the part that's quiet, the part that's brave, even when you don't feel big, that part is glowing too. And when the world feels a little too dark, when shadows feel a little too big, just remember, you are the light. You are the whisper. You are the glowling in the tree. Chapter 16, Sleep now, little dreamer. So hush now, let your breathing slow, in and out, in and out. The lanterns above are swaying. The dreams are already floating. And somewhere in a forest you'll visit only in dreams. Luma sleeps beneath the moss, wrapped in glow, wrapped in peace, wrapped in everything quiet and safe. And now, so can you. Good night, little light.